So during the beta of The Crew, I actually changed my mind on something I hear quite often when dealing with games, because when a new game's coming out, you usually hear you won't understand the game unless you play it, and you usually dismiss it instantly as marketing bollocks, because, come on, it usually is. They say it with Call of Duty, they say it with, I don't know, the next iteration of FIFA, for example. Do you know what I mean? It's said with every game ever. But now I'm actually going to listen to the games I've never actually tried when they say that. Because The Crew, you do not understand it until you play it. No matter how much you are hyped for the game, you do not understand it until you play it. And I learned that during the beta, the last beta and the second beta. So let us explain here. Let's go right to the beginning and say the feel of each car. Let's say that. So every car in this game feels different. For example, the first beta I tried a muscle car and it was very heavy and you had to think before you go into corners and you had to get really good angles and you can't power through corners very often, otherwise it'll kind of spin out. And tuners are very twitchy. You don't have to think, you can think last minute, you don't have to, you know, think ahead, you can go into the corner, but you may spin out because of how twitchy and agile and light it is. But then later on, I managed to save up for an R34. In this beta, it was a Charger SRT8. And that sat right in the middle. Those cars sat in the middle. They were very controllable. You don't have to think before the corner. It was thinking just as the corner hit you, but you didn't overturn it too much. You had to decelerate a little bit. You could power through sometimes, but, you know, they sat in the middle. And then I didn't even try the supercars and hypercars because they weren't available in the beta. And there's obviously other cars available as well. Not every car is going to feel the same in each class. So muscle cars all feel different. My 69 Camaro felt completely different to my old, my new Camaro, sorry. And that's not even all the cars. So that instantly has got cars for everybody. There's cars for everybody in this game. You know, some people may stick with one car, some people may stick with a few cars, but I'll get into that again in a second. So then once you've chosen your car, you can then customize that car to how you want. So visually you can put on different bumpers, you can put on different wing mirrors, you can put on different rims, different paint jobs, different stickers, setups, different spoilers, anything you fancy will be able to whack onto that car, and your car will already, I bet, look completely different to everybody else's on that game. Because everybody has a different colour choice, everybody has a different rim choice, everybody has a different viewpoint on how their cars look. So then, once you've got that, you've then obviously got the specs. So then you add on your street spec, your dirt spec, your performance spec, your raid spec, your circuit spec to that car, and it'll convert it even more, and then you can customize it even more with completely different parts, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of customization options in this game, and a lot of personal options in this game, which makes it like an RPG. You choose a class, for example, you then do races to unlock new parts, unlock more money to buy new parts to add on to that car that you want to create. And not only that, you're not limited, as I said, to sticking with one car. So I could have a car that is circuit spec, I could have a car for dirt spec. So for example, SLS would be circuit, the Camaro 69 would be street spec, then I've got a different Camaro for, off-roading. I've got, you don't have to stick with the same car for everything. If you want to do that, you bloody can do that. And that is something even more awesome about the game. So just so you know, each car kind of reacts differently to each situation, and then obviously putting on a spec makes it react even more differently, even though it's still different to the other cars in that class, which is awesome. So for example, street racing, street class is going to make you grip to the road a little more, dirt spec is going to be good for off-roading, performance is going to be the next level of street racing, raid is going to be off-roading without dirt tracks, and then circuit cars are going to be for, well, circuit racing at high intense speed straights, basically. So then they are not limited to those situations. So for example, the dirt spec cars have less grip on tarmac, so that means what am I going to do? I'm going to try and drift that car. So I go whack on hardcore mode, whack on manual, drift that thing down a mountain, and I have a lot of bloody fun getting that car to drift because it is not limited to being off-road, and that just opens even more customization, doability in this game. Because when you haven't even tried all the specs yet, you never know, you could have drag races in circuit cars because they're even faster. It just, as I said, opens up even more that you can do in this game. So I'm pretty sure you understand how the cars and the classes and such work in this game now, but what about the always online? That's something I've heard people complain about a bit, and to be honest, it's understandable why you would complain. But what I'm not going to do here is go into what's always online, why is it always online, what's peer-to-peer, that sort of thing, because honestly I don't really need to, because I've done it in the past. Once I explain this, even if you don't know, you'll understand why always online is on this game. So some games have a vision for always online because of, always being connected, always being updated. Go online, there's new content available for you, there's updated feed of what's coming through, and obviously we were against Microsoft doing the whole console DRM thing and such. It would have had its benefits, but with a single game, I think that's different, and especially for the crew, it would not be the same game without this. And I'll explain why. So me and EK went across country. We decided to go from one side of the country to the other, cruising. It took us about 15 minutes to do the whole thing, and it was a lot of damn fun, just literally cruising. We didn't have music to listen to, but it would have been fun to listen to music while cruising down the roads. So that's what we did. We cruised down the roads. And along the way, we ran into people doing other things. We ran into people doing the same thing as us, traveling across country with their friends to see how long it takes to get to one side, to just see what the city's like or whatever. We ran into people doing the same thing as us, and I've never experienced that in a game before. Need for Speed World is the closest example I've got, and that's not very good, is it? Do you know what I mean? For example, when I first got on the beta, I drove to the car shop to buy a new car, and there were people there driving to that place and that arrived at that place around the same time as me, and they went to buy a car at the same time as me. I've never experienced that in a racing game before, and it's a beta on PC only at this time. Want another example? When I went to do some drifting for you guys, I went to a track, and on that track I met other people there drifting around that track with me. They decided to drift with me. I'd never met these people, I've never spoken to these people, they don't know who I am, I don't know who they are, but we share one thing, and that is love for everything cars, whether that be drifting, drag racing, doing whatever you wish in your own personal car. It just feels the world. It honestly does feel the world. Everything you do in this game is rewarding, and you'll end up kind of driving to a car meet with your friends, for example, and you'll run into skill challenges on the way to unlock new parts for your car to make it even better along the way. You'll race across country with your friends and split up, making challenges along the way with each other, kind of racing, doing these skill challenges along the way, upgrading your car and earning money on the way towards more cars. And you know what, everything just adds up in this game. Distraction gameplay, I've never seen this before in a racing game that worked so well. I mean, in Need for Speed, what is it, Most Wanted, I had distraction gameplay, but it didn't distract me enough to stop me doing a bloody race to turn off, whereas this, I'm racing across the bloody country and I stop to look at a freaking lake and find there's a jump across the lake. I activate the bloody jump, go over the jump, land the jump, fail it, I get a bronze or something. That's a fail to me. I'm going to try that again until I get a gold, be able to equip that part, get money for trying that skill challenge, to be able to buy a new car, to be able to customize a new car, to be able to customize that car I'm in, or unlock a new spec for that car. I then jump into PvP to race against crews that I've never met, or players that I've never met, in totally different cars with totally different, perk setups, with totally different customization options. And it's all shown by their driving skill and their ranking and their level displayed of their car, the time and effort they've put into that car. They love that car because they're driving that car. Why else would they drive that car? They've either just got that car from doing their own grinding, and then once I've done that, I could add those people and cruise around with them and go to local tracks and drift with people that I've never met. It just all adds up. It really, really does. You see somewhere, you can drive there. I've said that a lot in videos, and they've started using it in trailers and such as well, and it really, really does do that. It gives you that feeling. I've never had the feeling before. I see a mountain in the distance and think, holy shit, I can drive up the top of that mountain. I could go on those sand dunes with my new raid spec car. I can go to the salt flats and drag race with my friends. I can go to the Grand Canyon and meet new people that I've never met before and just cruise around the canyons when it's sunset. I can jump down a bloody ski jump with my friends. And guess what? You'll be earning skill challenges along the way to get new parts for your car, to upgrade them, to get new cars with money. It's just... It's hard, so hard to explain the crew in one video. And do you want even more? How about those microtransactions? You thought that was an issue? Well, let's look at GTA Online. Remember that game? Do you remember how it gets content updates every month and you're able to buy those without paying for them? Yeah? Well, the crew is going to get updates every 3 months, meaning possibly new cars, new skill challenges, new events, new races, new features such as replay cameras, vinyl editors, maybe bloody neons. We don't know what they're going to add because it's all going to be fan feedback. You guys doing things in the game is going to result in them adding features into the game. Maybe impromptu drag races, maybe putting your car that you've worked so hard on the line because it's just... This is racing heaven. You hear me hype this game up so much if you follow my channel, and there is a valid reason why. This is possibly one of the greatest games I have ever played in my life. I'm putting the beta as my second favourite game I've ever played in my whole entire life. Because this is a beta. How do I know that it's going to be better? But do you know what, like... I've never once played a beta and thought, this is going to be a brilliant game. I've never done that. The crew has a few glitches in beta, but it's in beta. Every game has a few glitches, right? But they're not as often as Rivals, for example. But these glitches, they're not bad. And I've never run into major issues such as the handling not being responsive or, the cars dropping through the ground or something. And it's in beta, and the map is huge. The map is absolutely massive. It takes 15 minutes for me and EK to get across without stopping very often. And we were racing down the LA River at the end. We went to the beach and we went to the pier and we tried to drive off the pier and I smashed into a bloody wall. And on the last day I wanted to climb up a mountain, show my friends climb up a mountain. They were shocked by me being able to climb up that bloody mountain that I saw miles and miles and miles away, it would seem. And I got a new car, and as you see in my videos, I take them to the sand dunes. I take them to the snowy mountains. I take them to a bloody ski jump because I've never been able to do that. In Forza, you build a car, you drift it around a track. In this, I can build a car, drift it around a new area that I've never been to before. And when I looked at the map after I'd made the Coast to Coast 50-minute challenge video, I looked at the map, and it's only a tiny little dig away at the map, straight through the middle. You gotta think you gotta do that back and forth, all the way till you get to the top of the map and just completely remove all layers of the map and discover all of these things along the way and do all these skill challenges along the way and earn more money doing all these skill challenges. And I haven't even mentioned the story in the game yet. The crew is like, honestly, the first next generation racing game. The developers have had this vision since Test Drive Unlimited and were unable to pull it off because of limitations with network speed issues and such, but now with the crew, if you're worried about bandwidth usage, for example, it's using less than a COD game. I'm getting constantly dropped in and dropped out with other players and other players' cars loading in, and I find someone that I want to race against because I can, and then we're doing skill challenges together and we're doing so much together. I've never experienced this in a game before. Not even on GTA Online because, well, you get shot after about 2 minutes. But this is honestly the next generation racing game. The only racing game you need if you're only picking up one this year. Because I can't explain it in words. And I've done my best. So if I did kind of let you know how the game was, make sure to let me know down in the comments, see if I did a good job or whatever. If you haven't played the game and it kind of made you hyped for the game, if you didn't like the game during the beta and I've kind of made you understand it a little bit more, or whatever your position is, let me know if I managed to get something across to you here today. But hopefully you understand why my hype for the crew has never been higher, and we are so close to the console beta, and then a month later the game is coming out. Almost. Do you know how hyped that makes me? It is... I'm very excited. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. As I said, please leave a like if this video did help you or let you know anything that you didn't know about the game and such, and it increased your hype levels and such, and subscribe if you're new here. This has been BlackPanthaa, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.